Today, we're thrilled to invite Lina Aries from Deutsche Telekom. Lina is based in the Madrid location, and like many of us, has been sort of like probably like over the last 2 years pressed to take advantage of the major advancements that have been happening in artificial intelligence, and how it has been impacting the way that we practice service design. So Lina has been working deeply in this over the last couple of years in the financial services context. And so, so she's going to help us today figure out what does this mean for service designers, right? So it'll be a fantastic, during the course of it, Lina's going to have, 20, 25 or so minutes to share her story and the experiences at Deutsche Telekom. And then it's opening up to you to ask some questions, to raise your hands, to make an observation. If you'd like to pose questions in the chat, I'm happy to pose the questions on your behalf and to moderate this discussion. So, as you're listening to Lina and thoughts come to mind and you're thinking about how it might be impacting you and you've got questions for Lina, pop them in the chat. So with that, Lina, are you ready to take us on your journey?
Yes, I am.
All right, great.
First of all, many thanks for all of you for joining me into this sharing that I will be doing about my journey being a service design in a highly AI-driven environment. So just to start, a little bit of a hello. I have been a service designer for over 13 years. I have been also a mom for the last 2 years of my life. I have a master's degree on product service system design for Polyme. And since June 2022, I have been working as senior service designer at Deutsche Telekom. And right now I'm acting as the CX and design lead for the Artificial Intelligence Competence Center. Before we start, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. Everything that I will be sharing in here right now, it's based on a quite particular vision because I work in a particular environment, which is a highly corporate, such as DT, super technology oriented and absolutely delivery oriented as well. So my vision could be biased because of this environment that I'm working on. And also the second thing that I want you all to know is that I'm not pretending to set any truth. Like it's my experience and I'm still in the look for what is my value, what is how I have been deconstructing and trying to reconstruct my role as a service designer. So whatever might be true for me today could not be true tomorrow, or could not be applicable for any of you, or could also happen that it's nothing new under the sun that I'm telling you for you today. So I want you to have this clear. I'm not setting any truth in here. So a little bit of context for working. As I said before, this has been a process, both an emotional and a professional journey for me, and something that I describe as a mourning process somehow. Because for the last year, what I have witnessed is a major shift, both from the role that I have been having and from the whole sector in general. In my case, I have been moving away from strategy to a more operative roles. Before, I have worked as a strategy consultant for larger firms, and right now I'm in-house working for products. So I have been working from delivering the next 5-year vision to start thinking for whatever we need to release for the next month. So right now my feeling is that my mind should be more all about the delivery. And it's my focus more right now about the delivery. And of course, arriving to a place such as AICC has been a final confirmation for me for this new mood that I have to be on. And also this feeling that somehow design has been left out within this moment and this environment. And I'm bringing here 2 slides from last year global conference, from the conference from Alex Klein, where he was somehow also trying to talk about the same feeling, and why is that we're having this feeling, and why is this happening, that design somehow has been left out. And during this conference, he was having this quote that struck my mind and my heart really hard, because somehow it was like this guy is putting in words my feeling for the last year. So it has been a process where I really need to unlearn and to deconstruct the whole things that I believe were truth about service design, and also because I came from a quite academical career where I studied design, then I do a master's on service design. So let's say that I was more from the whole academic process on how to do service design. Yes, it was my time to accept that I was in an environment where it was business driven and tech driven, and the truth is that while I'm here, it's not going to change, and I need to understand that this is the current place where I am right now. And the AI environment, I want to share with you why the AI environment, it could be a challenging place for a designer to start working on, and it has some particularities of that. So the first thing, the question that I always have, that it's always in my mind and that it's always in my team is like, okay, we have to accept that we're not queens of the ball anymore. So how, when, where to deliver the value? Because before that, we could say that we were really used to know our process. So I know where my value was. It was clearly stated. And right now, this has been the process of mourning, like, I don't know anymore. So what should I do to keep my value still real for the team? And let's say that if we look and we saw the literature, and if we go for the academical procedure, we can say that, yes, I mean, we can use our everyday design thinking process, our framework and approach, and I can design an AI product. There is nothing so much different about it. Actually, for example, if you go and you look for the IBM human-centered design AI framework, what they're doing, it's really amazing on paper, like it makes a lot of sense, and it's not so much of a difference from what we are doing right now in a regular design process. So looks good on the paper, but the hard truth is that once you're in the trench, once you're there, the AI teams has a really different mindset, a really different pace, and a really different workflow that somehow makes our process not so ideal for them, or not so logical for them. And what I have seen, it's some pressure points for an AI team. And this is my view as an external, as a non-highly technical person, someone that it's just a side player on the game. And one of the first things that I have seen is that AI teams are absolutely obsessed with building things, because they need to build things so they can prove and learn. So they need the first obsession is that we need to show that AI is capable of doing the job. So we need to build whatever we want as fast as possible. Otherwise, we're not able to learn how to connect the data. Otherwise, we don't know if these sources are the right ones or not. Like, they need to really do the whole process of building so they can understand what they can do or what they cannot do. And this need of working as fast as possible is also connected with gaining the momentum. They need to move fast. And this is basically because, yes, AI, it's a hype right now, but when the moment of truth, when, yeah, you need to pay for the party now, no one wants to do it. You know, like when you go to the business units and says like, yeah, I need you to sponsor my project, people start saying like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. So that's when you understand like, yeah, that's why they need to build and to prove that they can do the job really fast, so they cannot lose, they're not afford to lose the sponsorships. And the thing that creates more difficulties for me, or also for designers, is that for a AI team, it's rather to build something successful rather than valuable at the beginning. Here I'm talking about pilots. So since they're obsessed with showing that they need to do something, that we cannot lose sponsors, so this is successful for them. Valuable, we will see it later. So somehow, if I do a really silly generalization of the process, I could say that it's first we build, then we understand, and then we will design. And of course, if you saw this, This seems to go against the very core mandate of service design. Like, when I was at university, I was learning the outside-in process, where you need to design the experience and technology will come last. The truth is that when you're in an AI project, it's either you're join or you're out. They don't have time waiting for your super ideal design process. And AI-driven projects can survive without the design. They are not waiting for the designers to tell them, oh, please tell me how the experience should be. Since they're obsessed with delivering fast, proving that that they can do things fast, and that they cannot lose a sponsor, they will not wait for you. They will just advance with you, and probably in a while they will look behind and say like, hey, designers, we need you, but they will not feel that you need to be there all the time with them. And it's a hard truth to accept. This is a provocative statement, what I'm doing in here, but it's a discussion that we always have in my team, for example. It's either we do something, or next time when we want to do something, we will be already out. And to make this a little bit more tangible and not just to have a provocative statement, I want to share with you a little bit of my experience with one of the products that we have been working on last year at AICC. So I want you all to meet AskT. AskT is the internal AI assistant for DT employees. So basically, if you go to AskT, you will be able to know all the information that you need about your company, such as HR, such as the different tools, such as the different processes that you need to do. Also, you can have information about your very own department, like quite specific information. And there is this part that it's the company part, the company knowledge, but there is also the work knowledge. So in here, you can also have access to ChatGPT in a secure environment, especially made for DT. And you can do such things as translate this text for me. I can upload a document and then chat with the content of the document. So this is the thing that we have created. So when I arrived to AskT, to the team of AskT, a pilot, of course, has already been done. And this pilot has already demonstrated that our team was able to connect the data, that it was the right technology to do it, and that we were having one business unit that was committed to sponsor our product. AskT was launched last year on March 2024, and as for today, we have already more than 1 million conversations since the launch. So I can say it's a successful story. It's not a happy path, has not been a happy path, but it has been at the end a successful story. So spoiler. As you can see in here, did you remember when I say like this is a quite challenging and unnatural process for the designers? Like I remember when I arrived, I was saying like, my God, how are you going to success with a product having such a disorganized and such an intuitive process? But the truth is that, yeah, the process works somehow. Like it's difficult for us, but it works. Of course, in here, this has been a common effort, not just for technology. It has been also design, product management. A lot of people has been in here, and we have been enhancing our process with the time. But it's a happy story, and we have been able to gain a lot of traction just with 1 year. So as I said, it was not a happy path. It was a difficult. So when we started from two very, very different starting points. The natural design approach was, okay, we already have a pilot, so let's align on the big things. Let's have a value proposition. Let's do the user personas. Let's work on the attributes. It was like our thought was like, hey, come on, we have 80K plus people that we need to serve with this product. So we really need to have a proper understanding of them. While the tech team, their approach was like, no, we need to gain as much traction as possible. You know, that we have this business unit that is a sponsorship ask, and we need to prove them that, yeah, we are going to bring as many people as possible, as fast as possible, because we need them to keep sponsoring us. We are not afford to losing them, and we need to gain even more sponsors if we want to keep developing this tool. So their approach was like, more traction means we need to produce as many use cases as possible to cover as many people as possible. So it was two very, very different approaches to start with. What I'm going to do in here is to share with you 5 key moments for the design team and how we were able to meet me halfway somehow for these very two different approaches. So the first key moment was the use case brainstorm. Of course, when we started, it was super difficult to gain users. We were not having a proper understanding of their context. We were not having a clear objective. So every single thing that we proposed was valid. So there was like a million of different things and they were not aligned. And actually what was crazy was that it was not clear for us as a design team what we can do. And it wasn't also clear for the team, for the tech team, what we can do, because we were placed in the go-to-market team. So it was a couple of weeks where we were saying, oh, we shouldn't be here. We could be doing much more with our skills. So it was difficult. It was difficult these couple of first weeks. And then we realized, the whole team realized, like, okay, we need to stop. This is not the right way to go. And we need to align somehow. And this was one of the first key moments for design. In here, we raised our hand and we said, people, we can help you with this. And the first exercise that we did, it was a super simple exercise. And it was, we did a workshop where we call different product managers, different leaders from the different streams of the product, and we asked them to do an elevator pitch exercise. This exercise visualized and show how all of us were describing the product in a totally different manner. Each one of us were assuming that the killer feature was a different one. We were describing the product in a different manner, so we were not aligned at all. And this was the first ignition moment for design to say, now, please, let's do an exercise to create a value proposition and a mission. And this was what we delivered initially to the team. But then we say, we know that we can do more. So what we did is that we take that and then we start working on design principles and attributes. And then we share back again this with the team. And we said, like, here you have a guide to everything. Every time you feel lost within our product, please look at this. This is our lighthouse. And this was crazy because the comment that we were having from the product managers and even from the top management team, it was like, you know, it was not so obvious for us that design can help us with this. It was super obvious for us as designers, but for the team, it wasn't that obvious that we can step up for doing such a thing. And right now, for example, if you go to ASCII, they even have a super nice lighthouse right now. They were for a moment able to stop thinking in the now, and they were able to look for the future. And this is the core mandate that they have right now. So that we want to be the indispensable assistant, the indispensable tool for the employees at Deutsche Telekom. And we feel really proud of it. It could be something really silly and something really obvious, but it was our first big win. Then, okay, we were already aligned, and then we were gaining users, but we were losing them after the first use. So we were having no retention, no engagement, nothing. So this is, again, when we say, hey, design can help in here. So what we did, myself and the UX designer, is that we do journey assist. We evaluate the current experience that we were having, and we propose several different enhancements that we can do. And we map them out from really, really quick wins, things that we can do either in 1 day or 1 week, and other things that were more impactful changes that we need to do for this. And so we delivered this to the team at the beginning, but then we know we can do more. So what we did is that we run some interviews. It wasn't not a perfect research. It was not a 1 month research. It was like few of interviews, and we were showing some insight. More than insight, it was like fact checking. It was like showing some facts. But we were able to show to the team, like, for the first time, the voice of the user, like some behaviors. And what happened in here, it was funny because we were pushing for an onboarding experience. We were saying from the very beginning, we need an onboarding experience. We have a problem with the onboarding. And the tech team says like, yeah, we know, but it's not our priority right now. It's use cases. And then when we did the map, when we showed the interviews, when we did all of this, they were saying like, oh, now we understand and when we were able to connect it with the KPIs of retention and engagement, that's when they say like, oh, now we understand. So let's just please do your own thing. We will continue working on our thing, but they somehow they understood the value of the thing that we were proposing. The other key moment was, okay, we were having a long list of use cases because that was the thing that we were working on and more focusing more, but we didn't know how to prioritize them. That was the truth. And again, design can help in here. So what we did again was that we use an internal tool that we have at DT to validate future use cases. So we did that, we showed them the results, but we didn't stop there. We said like, okay, we can interview people, we can let them know what would be the leverage points, the concern areas, critical issues for each one of the use cases that they want to launch, because we discovered super simple things such as people were not understanding what we were saying. When we were saying an LLM, there were people who didn't even know what LLM means, because of course we were having 80K people. So no one will have to know by detail everything that's happening. And the other thing that we did is that we developed a structured approach on how to communicate, how to design, and how to release the next 3 features that we saw were going to be the important ones. Because something that we also discovered is that we were having trouble on how we were explaining the features for the people. So we were even capable to say like, okay, these are going to be our potential main users for this feature. This is how we need to communicate. These are the attributes that we need to highlight, and this would be the most logical order where we need to launch the cases, the features. Because something that we were able to discover with this interview is that if people does not understand how to interact with the tool in this way first, they will not be able to understand this other one, and they will not be able to understand this other one. So we were able to provide to the team this structure. And we even were able to set and to make a hypothesis with these 3 cases. And we said, like, if we're able to do this case right, we can promise you that we're going to have a steady growth of the user base. And guess what happened? This is what happened. This was the first use case, the case that we said that this is going to be a hook use case, and if we do it right, we're going to have a steady growth. And yes, it happened. And these points, of course, it's confidential information, so I cannot share much with you, but as you can see, with an organized process, we were able to show a better rhythm of growing. And some of them are releases, and some of them are also communication methods that we did for the tool. And the last key moment that we have, and this was absolutely funny and beautiful at the same time, is that, okay, we were growing at a steady rhythm. We already know everything. So now it's time to get to know our users better. First thought as a service designer for me was like, yeah, the first thing I told you we need to do. But then I rethink my thought and assess like, it makes sense for them. Because right now it looks like now they can breathe. Now they're in a safe moment where they have a steady growth. Now they have more than just one business unit sponsoring them. Then they can prove that, yes, we can do the job. Now they can breathe, take their head out and breathe. And somehow we have to be preparing here saying like, I know that you were going to need this. So I'm here ready to help you with this. So since we already know that this was going to happen, we have already been in place research where we were able to discover some of the user profiles, some of the core activities that the people were doing, and we already know how to connect them with some core actions and how to create tailor-made value proposition for each profile. So as I said, when we started this, we were having many comments of people saying like, you're not going to be capable of do this. Why are you spending so much money and so much time on developing a new tool that we can buy from a third party? So it was like people were not believing that much. And at that moment, I understand like, yes, that's why it's not an easy task that the AI teams have when they need to prove their value constantly to their sponsors. And right now, situation is absolutely different. It has become actually a really nice and I don't know if indispensable, but an important tool for people in DT. And right now, we're not just working for Germany. ASTI has gone internationally, and now it's providing services for many other NAPCOs in Europe. So it has been quite interesting for me. Unfortunately, I'm not part of the AST team anymore. Right now, I have been moved to another project, but it was a great experience, and the team continue working on that. So now came the part of some of the takeaways that I have from this story. So the first takeaway, although could be really obvious, is adaptability. Where I need to absolutely unlearn and break the whole process of service design. What I need to do is to learn how to seize the moment. And sometimes I felt, and the metaphor that I can use right now is just like what I have as a service designer is a Swiss knife in my hand. And now it's like I know how to use it. I know everything that is inside in here, and now I'm the one able to say like, yeah, I can use this, I can use this. So it's my skill sets and the tools that I have within me that is giving me the value to be in the team. It's not like logical, regular, proven process that we have in here. Another key takeaway that I have is like right now I'm on surviving mode all the time. If I don't do anything, I will be taken away. Like people will continue without the design team. So I have to embrace agile at its best. So it's better to present something rapid and concrete, something that 5 interviews and 10 facts that people can do something with that fight for 1 month time of research and then delivering 38 pages of insights. You know, it's too abstract for the team. And it's something that I also have learned that our process, our design thinking process, could be too abstract in some moments for an AI team that it's obsessed with delivering and to show value quickly. And it's funny, and we're also slow. And it's funny because I remember when I was a consultant, when we were selling our design thinking process, this is the thing that we were selling. We were saying like, oh, you're going to be more tangible and you're going to be much more faster than with a regular design process that you were doing before. And right now, it's just like, you know, we're the slow ones if we keep following like the traditional design academic path. So it's better to deliver something that anything, and do not wait for the perfect thing. And anyways, like will not be always in survival mode, of course. It cannot be sustainable. So if I think about moving forward, one thing that I have realized is that there is one value that remains to be true, as is that service designers are the sense makers. We're the ones that do not have our mind fully just into delivery or fully into the run, and we're able to see the big picture. We're able to let them run into their track, going behind them, creating the structure that they will need. You know, it's like, yeah, you run, don't worry, I will be here behind you, creating the structure, because I know that at some moment you will need my structure. And we are the ones, we have this capacity as service designer to have this vision, to have the long-term vision, and to have the overall vision. So this is something that we can do as sense makers. And there is another thing, and it's, for example, right now in the moment where AskT is, that it's right now more calmer, more steady, rhythm of growth. Now service designers can be in the way of being ethical and critical actors. Like now they can start asking the whys. Why are we doing this? Why are the implication of such a tool? What are the models that we are reproducing within this tool or any other tool? So this is where we can go out of the mayhem of delivery, and where we can start. Still, it's the same value that we have always delivered. It's like, but it's now, it's for me, it's even more important, like, to be this critical, this ethical actor, and keep asking all the time, because for the AI teams, they are sometimes so obsessed with building something that they forgot the humans that are on the side. So it's always our fight to say, like, hey, please remember, there is a human on the other side, and there are applications for the human on the other side of the screen. And so, connected with this, I want to share this quote from Mattia Arico from Design Mavericks, where she says that in this AI-driven world, we're not anymore for polishing pixels. Our future is to structuring agency. And when she's talking about the structuring agency, she's talking about to match the machine logics with the human needs, to start talking about accountability, to start talking about ethics. So she's saying, like, yes, it's true that we all feel that design is changing, but design is not dying. Design is evolving to an even more strategic part. So for me, this is, I want to end up my talk with this future, and with this silver lining part, because it's like closing the circle again, from strategy to operational to hyper strategy back again. And for me, this is a bright future. I know that right now I'm in survival mode, it's true, but I also know that it's not going to be true, and that probably in many months or years or whatever, when we will have more time, we will be able to tell this story backwards, and to create a process and like a logical way on how to do this. So yes, this was my my sharing. Many thanks, all of you, for listening to me. And yes, I don't know, it's
Thank
time
you
for
so much,
questions.
Lina. That was fascinating story, and you told it really, really well and really, really clearly. It was great to get an insight into what's happening at Deutsche Telekom, and I'm sure it resonates with many in the room here who are undergoing and experiencing similar challenges. There's going to be some questions, but I'd love to just maybe kick it off. I know before we started the cafe, Lina, we talked a little bit about, you've had a lot of experience designing not just AI products, but digital products generally, right? And you've used the word agile. And so many companies, the reality is that companies tend to be tech-led before they're design-led, right? And we've always had to work with that. And so when software development teams started to introduce agile, we struggle. How are we going to work with agile? Because we're learning to build, not building to learn. And it sounds like you're describing a very similar challenge now with AI, our tech-led products. We are struggling to integrate in the same way. Are there lessons that we've learned, or that you and the team have learned working in more traditional software product development versus working with AI product development? And I know you use the word agile. So and how different is it?
Yes, I guess some of the things, because I also experienced the same thing, like, oh, how are we going to do it now? How I will change my whole process to match the whole agile thing. But right now, what I can feel is that we have already been able to have an agreement when we're designing digital products. Like, somehow we already have like this process polished. And for example, we have the design gates where we were able, and right now we're sitting down with the developers to build architectural information. So right now, somehow the developers are already know that there is value on design. So we were already able to do that. So for me, like, for the digital design process, it's somehow like we already have this standard. By working and working and working, we already know, and it's easier right now. And somehow the developers already know that they will have to wait for us a little bit, and that there is a mandate that the service designers do, which is the journey map. We already somehow find a way to interact with them. So we have found this magical tool that allow us to contact with others. The thing right now with AI is that a journey is not sufficient anymore, because a journey, as I saw it before, it's just like we're working the users with one pathway. We're the ones telling the user what to do and how to do it. And with AI, we cannot do that anymore. There are 1,100,000 different pathways that the user can take. So we cannot design 1 million different journeys. So what we need to do and what we need to understand is the intent of the user. Also, the UXers need to know how to design for this intent, not anymore for the actions. And what we need to design right now is the guardrails. How can we design the guardrails that keep the experience in that way? So that could be my takeaway. I don't know if it's like the proper answer or not, but
No,
it's my
it
experience.
definitely is. And I mean, and I think it begins, Thomas Garcia, you had a question in that vein, I think, regarding the tool for validating use cases, but also how the team became open to user profiles. Has Lina answered your question, or would you like to phrase it for her? Thomas, you can unmic and let me know, because yeah, you're the only one to pose a question in the chat yet, so that's why I'm putting you on the spot.
Hey, is my mic working?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did have a question because I've seen a tendency of teams to work very hardly for the release of an MVP, but once the product is released, they move on to the next product. So there's not really an appetite to keep on learning and iterating based on those learnings. But this seems to be different on this team where you launch first and then you adapt based on learnings. I don't know. I don't know what is the proper question. Just if you have any ideas on this topic.
Yes, it's true, and I guess it's a nice way to see value that they have in this different approach that they have, because somehow if we already thought that we have already understood everything and that we have this MVP, that's why we can lose interest on like learning more, because we can have this pride where we said like, yeah, we already learned whatever needs to be learned. But with this approach, there is a continuous learning process. Like, it's not sufficient just with a pilot, because there are 1 million things that we don't know. So we need to keep iterating, and we need to keep designing the tool with every single release that we're doing. So I guess there is some value on this different way that they have from having more concrete things to work on. So it's true that the team was always eager to what is the next thing.
And as a follow-up there, I understand that in some companies it's not up to the team building the product if they can continue to iterate. Sometimes there are resources needed somewhere else. So in your experience in this project, how important was leadership buy-in in order to keep on evolving the product?
I guess it was super important, the fact that we own the product and that we believe that it's our product on our own, and the team has remained this somehow the same team, and that we're giving away our product to anyone else, because that like just the fact that there are people that can tell the story from the very beginning, that when things were not going that right, and with all the fights that we have, all the fights that we have, and all the troubles that we were having, that creates like a common brain, for the product. So it's good to have those voices that can remember what happened in the last moment, and not just everyone to jump in the boat when everything was going right.
Hey, thank you, Thomas. We have another question from Betsy. Betsy is asking if you can share a few examples of the guardrails that you were mentioning there at the end of your talk.
For the Ask T, I didn't get to design them. Right now, I'm doing it in my project, but I cannot share anything about my project. But for example, there are some things that information that we don't want people to. One thing, Well, while we were doing this research for AskT, for example, one of the things that we discovered was that probably not every single topic wanted to be addressed with an AI. Probably there were some quite personal topics that people want to be addressed by a human, for example, rather than just an AI. So it was like, what are we going to do? What is the answer that the system will provide? So first we need to discover what are those topics, for example, and what would be the approach that the system would give to the person. What are we going to let people and ask for the system, and how are we going to take actions that we don't want people to do? Like a person is doing an undesirable action in the system, how can we respond to that action? Are we going to just cut it down? Are we just going to explain why? What are we going to do? So those are the things that we need to design, for example.
Okay. Amber has a question. She poses it like this: at a company that's results driven, as I imagine Deutsche Telekom and most companies are, how do you keep getting budget and time allowance for iterations? Back to what Thomas was asking earlier regarding iterating on the MVP. I imagine it is by showing results like you did, but tell us your experience there.
Yeah, it was showing results, and that's why you understand why they were so obsessed with the sponsorship. So right now we're working with more getting sponsorships, and somehow the strategy is the more departments we get to join in our tool, the more sponsorships are we going to have, and the more diverse it will be our sponsorships. So we will not just going to be dependent on just one person or just the strategy of this person for the tool. But if we have a diversity of sponsorships, then it will be okay if someone decided to cut us short, for example, at some moment. But yeah, we have been lucky that we were able to show results. Come on, showing results in 1 year, it was like a good proof of concept. And we said like, yeah, people, come on, give us some money.
Excellent. Any other questions from folks in the room? You're getting lots of really nice comments, Lina.
Thank you.
But one question that pops to mind, one of the things that I think service design has often been critiqued for is that we become a little bit overly obsessed on tools and methods, right? And what I liked about your presentation is that you didn't really go into like, oh, I use this IA tool for this, and I use this for that, and I use this for that and the other for research for the various parts of my process. You really looked about how you integrate design into the process of developing AI agents, right? And so what's really interesting about that is that, the AI agent is the front stage experience, right? It is that front stage player, and it is also a member of the backstage workforce. So there's lots of sort of, personas at play here. Never mind the challenge of actually working with a very fast moving technology team. Do you see a change or a trend over time that you're now being given a little bit more time to actually play the role of a full stack service designer versus simply spending all your time trying to integrate with a tech team?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was my silver lining. Like there is this first moment of delivery mayhem as it happened in AskT. And right now, after we have this steady rhythm, now it's the time when I can start asking the big questions. Like, for example, our mission was make work better. And now it's like, yeah, what does work better mean for a person? Maybe for a parent could be, I don't know, working just 3 hours and then spending all the time with their kids. Maybe for another person, it could be, I don't know, like being more successful in communication with my teammates. So that's when I can deliver many of my tasks to the AI, and having AI as a partner for my work, as another team member. Something that I love, for example, right now to see in Teams is that each time you have a conversation in Teams, you will see that there are humans, there are agents in this call. And for me, that's already a change of mind. Like, oh, it's not just human working. It's a new team member of my side. Copilot is a new member of my team. So I can be sure that there are things that will be done. Of course, I will need to somehow check them out, supervise them, because at the end there is a full topic on accountability when working with AI tools. But then I will have free time to asking the big questions that we always wanted to ask. And also, for example, what about biases? What about colonialism models that we're reproducing with AI? So those are the time for the big questions. These were I have a future, a bright future for our for our role.
Well, then I'll ask you
Keeps
one
me
last
going.
question because Tirath poses it really well, and he kind of builds on this. Imagine a future where the development of AI services is not necessarily just a tech-led piece, because we're all fascinated with the technology now, but if it was actually design-led, how not necessarily design-led, but maybe a greater role. What would you do differently to ensure that the process is more human-centered than in running to, say, developmental use cases? And I know this is a work in progress probably for you, and you're learning as you're doing it also. But are there things that you would like to be doing that you're not doing today that you see as sort of like the future development of this, the future enhancement of the work that you're doing as a designer?
Yes, I guess one thing that I have been reading it's as one of the possible things that we can do as a service designer, it's being more involved into the design of the actual models, like not just being designing the interfaces, but being like present when the model is designed. This would be like the actual policies of how the design is built. So in that time, we can have in consideration again the ethics, the assessment, everything that we need to do. It's like being at the core of the very own model that right now seems to be, you need to be highly technical and you need to understand a lot about how this is built, but maybe it could not be true. Maybe there is like a more general vision that they need to have. So to really build this in a more systematic way, like what I would say is that what we can bring as service designers is our systems thinking. And at the end, it's like, yeah, behind the whole technological things that are in here, it's a system, like a system in terms of systems thinking, and I can help you with that as a service designer. So I would love to be more involved in the actual model development, like this.
Great answer. So Lina, thank you. Our time's coming up, and thank you everybody for joining us today. It was a fantastic presentation, Lina, and a really nice discussion. It's been really amazing to learn from your experience. And so I would like to just say thank you and thank you all for being members of the Service Design Network.